As the creator of Slings Myofascial Training, naturally I can think of many things that make this body-minded movement and education concept different, even unique in some ways. But because brevity is the soul of dialogue, and I'm certainly hoping for a dialogue with your inner voice here, I will only speak of 3 things that differentiate slings from other, equally valuable, fascia-focused movement concepts. To have a sound theoretical foundation and practice with clear intention, I defined 12 movement-relevant fascial qualities that are science-informed and experience-proven. Derived from them are 10 Slings Myofascial Training techniques developed to achieve short-term and long-term movement aims, functional for body, mind, and soul. Intention changes everything. And in Slings, there's clear intent behind everything we do, from the movement practice itself to the words we use in teaching. Sometimes the intention is rather obvious, and other times it's not. So let me give you an example with a pose you most likely know. Downward facing dog, aka inverted V. When looking at this image, you know what I'm doing, but you know why I'm doing it? Why are you doing this pose? Now, I'm not in your head, so I can only share why I'm doing it. And it depends on the day and on my practice. So one good reason is to lengthen the lower portion of the superficial back line while gently strengthening the upper portion of the superficial back line. And in my body, this is certainly a toning exercise for the upper portion of my superficial back line. Now, because I do like to go about my practice with a certain ease, I often incorporate the back arm lines. So by pressing the hands away from the feet, it's very nicely engaging the back arm lines and then connecting them with the upper portion of the superficial back line, which gives the whole pose lift. But then sometimes I do have a day where I go like, oh, come on, now work a little bit more. And that's when I'm incorporating my superficial front line more consciously. So by pulling the hands towards the feet, I'm engaging the front arm lines, which feed energy back into the superficial front line, which makes the upper portion of my superficial back line work a lot harder, therefore me work a lot harder, which sometimes really is a good thing. But then I'm going back to a little bit of push, lift, and go like, oh, why not a triple arm spiral to have the very nicely intertwined 4 arm lines working for me rather than against me. So I'm using a triple spiral, starting at the hands, 4 arms, upper arms, and I have this really nice support in the weight-bearing position. That's not all. What about the deep front line? Beautiful for the deep front line. Unloading the pelvic floor in terms of organ weight and then bringing a rush of energy to the upper portion of the deep front line, which occupies the space on the inside of the rib cage around the heart. And then, of course, the energy travels up or the blood flow goes further up to the brain. And really, who doesn't benefit from a little bit of extra circulation to the brain? I certainly do. So this would be an excellent reason on why to incorporate the inverted V into the practice. Now, that's not where it stops. So what about the organs themselves? Do they benefit from some inversion every now and then? Absolutely. So another good reason to incorporate inverted V and then make it as light as possible so you can give the body time to just settle in a different state. Speaking of settling in a different state, what about boundaries? If you believe in somatic psychology, maybe then back arm line connection to healthy boundaries just resonates with you. It resonates with me, and I think boundaries are a good thing. What about changing perspective? Turning the world upside down, looking back, contemplation, what lies behind me? What a nice pose to pause and just take a look at the world or at yourself differently. There's a lot more, but at one point you need to stop. So there are a lot of different intentions and they certainly change the quality of the pose. So be very careful of making an assumption why someone does whatever they do. You might see the what they do, but the how is a very different question. And the more we can define the why, the clearer the movement intention. At this point of the conversation, let me tell you what we don't do. Combining lovely exercises in a nice way to create pretty-looking flows. Although flow is a big multi-layer topic in Slings, our movement sequences are designed with functional outcomes in mind. Only then the art of seamless choreography comes into play. So let me give you a seemingly simple movement sequence as an example.